Okay, let's talk about Poshfest. First of all, what is Poshfest? If you are new, Poshfest is the conference that Poshmark puts on for anyone who is interested in selling on their platform or classifies themselves as a reseller. And if you are new here, hello, my name is Ashley Wheeler, and on this channel, that's kind of what I teach you about. I teach you how to sell clothing, sell shoes, sell all different types of things on platforms like Poshmark and eBay. And I do that by going to thrift stores, purchasing items online, whether it be wholesale or liquidation, and then showcase that stuff to you guys here, also show you what is selling. So if some of that's interesting to you, definitely hit the subscribe button because I upload 2 new videos every single week to continue to provide you with updated information. And today we're going to talk about my 3rd Poshfest that I've gone to. I have now gone to the 2019 one when we were in Phoenix, Arizona, and then last year they ended up doing it virtually. This year we were supposed to be meeting everyone once again in Orlando, Florida, but that quickly changed, got canceled, and they ended up taking the whole conference and putting it virtually. They did have intentions of keeping the conference both virtual and in real life for the people who felt more comfortable just being online, but I was pretty bummed that I didn't get to see you all. Like, I was looking forward to that, man. So there's a lot we're going to cover today, so I'm just going to kind of give you a lowdown, and I will probably put in some chapters later, so that way if there's certain parts that you want to jump to, you can absolutely do that. We're going to go over the cost of both the swag bag as well as the virtual ticket. We're going to go over what was on the agenda, the platform that they ended up using to do the virtual conference, some of the new features, well, the new features that are coming out, the benefits that I saw, as well as the negatives that I saw. So if that is interesting to you, let's hit that like button and get right into this video. So as I've already mentioned, this was my 3rd Poshfest, and I definitely love a good group come together and being able to hang out with everyone, but I completely understand the circumstances right now and why I had to go virtual. So the virtual ticket was $49. If you wanted to include the swag box, that was $89. So here we've got the swag box. I believe it was a different cost if you just wanted to purchase the swag box. I don't know, because they went from having it in real life, virtual ticket without the swag box, virtual ticket with the swag box, and then conference with or without the swag box. Like, there were so many different variations. I don't remember if you could purchase this on its own without a ticket, but needless to say, here is what came in the swag box. The first thing is just a pretty decent size, like, tote bag, definitely reusable bag. I can't honestly say I'd be able to put a lot of packages in this. I kind of like my IKEA bags. I'm a little partial to those. This might be like a good grocery bag, you know, something like you got to grab a couple things in the store, that sort of thing. I don't really know what else I'm going to personally use it for. And this was actually a little lower, but it did happen to be on the top at this point. This was a Poshfest logoed water bottle. I don't know why that took me so long to say. Insulated. That's the word I wanted to use. So I am picky with water bottles. I have so many different variations of water bottles because I drink a lot of water. And if you just notice with that water bottle, it has a straw in it. So I'm sure you could probably add a straw into this, but I don't know about you, but more of these like wider opened water to try to drink, I always feel like water splashes on my face and it drives me crazy. I also don't drink nearly as much water if it's in something like this. If it's in a straw form, all day, every day, I will drink it. Definitely still a really nice, very sleek water bottle. I do like that it is insulated. Then you have this white t-shirt, and they did white last year as well. Maybe they even did that this first year that I went. But I really liked seeing that last year because a lot of people like tie-dyed and made really fun like decorations with their shirts and then showcased it at the Poshfest virtual. But it just has something on the front, not anything on the back. And honestly, for me, the sizing looks super weird. This looks unisexed. It doesn't really have any formality to it. It's a very boxy fit. And I kind of felt a little cheap in my opinion. The material doesn't feel like inside it felt a little more rough. I don't know. Now it kind of feels soft. I am indecisive, honestly. I haven't even tried it on. To me, it looks sheer. So you'd need like a nude bra underneath. I do love having like a shirt like this where it can be like, I attended this event. That just kind of goes back to me going to concerts when I was a kid, I think. But all the more, it does say Poshfest 2021, connect, learn, grow, share, inspire, and celebrate. So let's see if they lived up to that at their conference. Next, we have some thank you cards. They always do this. They add a little bit of thank you cards, which I do enjoy. However, I am also at the point that I have way too many thank you cards and I just need to use them up. I'm actually going to be, I just purchased recently some thermal printer stickers that were colored that I'm gonna start just printing out a specific thing that I can put on the back and then sign. That way I can use these up, because nothing drives me more crazy than having something that I've had for way too long and it's just stacking up as a pile. Like, I just want to use it all up and then get rid of it. Maybe that goes back to the fact that I used to be really heavily into makeup and like skincare and hair products, and I'd start to get so much of a plethora that I was like, I need to just use up some stuff so I can make more space. That's kind of where I am with those. Next, we have two different, do we have two or three? Three different kind of holographic stickers, or just even simple ones. So you've got like this Poshfest one, you've got this holographic one, and then you have like the same one but just in a white background. And what I do like about these is they do seem like the types of stickers that you can put, say, like on a water bottle, or if you have like a hydro flask. That's a definite really popular thing. You can also put them like on the back of like laptops, kind of like what I have here. You could do anything with the stickers. They are kind of fun for sure. And then in here, they had this little ring light, which, to be honest, I have one of these and I never ended up using it because the way that the circle goes impacts the lens on my phone. So I haven't tried this one. I haven't seen how bright it is. Will it actually work? I mean, not really, honestly. I have a ring light that I'm actually using right now. I don't really feel like it gives off, it does actually give off a decent amount of light if you are in kind of a dark setting, but it's just interesting. Oh wow, it just went brighter. Okay, I mean, there's that. Whoa, so there's three different ways that it goes. So it is good depending on the size of the phone you have, or maybe you even put this on something when you're trying to do like an Insta story. You can have this attached to something. It's a little more portable than actually using a ring light, is what I'm trying to say. This cord goes with your vanity light. And then it did actually have this in here, which I thought was pretty nifty. It is one of those wireless charging pads, and I've actually really been enjoying having one of these right beside my bed, because then I don't have to think about plugging my phone in at night. I can just immediately lay it on the pad, make sure it's charging, and then fall asleep. This one does have a cord inside. The one downside to these pads is how tiny these cords tend to be. My husband actually purchased one for me for my birthday, and I never used it because this cord is supposed to be what attaches to like the plug in your wall and then come up to where your phone is, and this is not nearly as long. You definitely need to have your own cord that you attach, but it's still, if you want to be like name brand, I mean like repping your platform you're on, then these are definitely some things you can enjoy. Do you think this was worth $40 to integrate into your Posh experience? Let me know in the comments below. Next, let's go into the agenda. So the agenda was jam-packed. Here was what the agenda entailed. So they have a welcome address. They went into heart hustle and handling your business. Then Manish came on to do the State of Posh Union. That's where he announces, just kind of giving a recap of what has occurred from the last time we all got together at Poshfest, and then what are some of the new features that are going to be coming out that year. We then go on to do some roundtable and networking, which we're going to go into what that looked like. Lots of networking opportunities. Then there were breakout sessions, as well as App Me Anything. App Me Anything is when you can come in and talk to any of the people who are developers of Poshmark's app, and you can ask them questions about the app. I'm gonna just say right now, it's a very dry environment and very hard to communicate, at least with my experience when I went in there to ask a question. And I'm so thankful it was virtual, because I could just bounce out because it was a very awkward moment. Then we went into the breakout sessions. So you had Totally Trending, which was merchandising strategy to drive sales, branding your business 101, scale your sourcing, such as liquidation, pallets, retail arbitrage. Then Tools for Success, a guide to Poshmark's features and tools. That was where they started to break down a little more about what's going on with the new updates. Uncovering discovery with Google, we are going to be talking about that session today. Then we had reselling with a purpose, your guide to thrifting and secondhand, business planning and scaling to go full-time, sourcing and reselling in Canada, building a community and growing a brand with Victoria Paris and TikTok. We are going to also talk about that session. And then they had a virtual magic show, which I totally didn't get an opportunity to take a look at that. Then day 2, we had another welcome address, more roundtable and networking opportunities. Then they do the hackathon, which is basically just features revealed and going more in depth to what Manish was talking about the day before and how are you going to be able to integrate these into your business. And then also start to give you a little bit of understanding of when are you going to see these features, because most of the time they're like, hey, this is what's coming in this next year. No, you're not going to get them right away. So gives you a little bit of like back behind the scenes feel of what's happening, but you definitely need the hackathon to know when can I expect to see this as a feature that I can use. Then we go into the different breakout sessions. So we had sustainable changes, huge impact, growing and scaling your business in Canada. So they actually did have sessions that were primarily towards the Canadian audience, which I thought was really awesome and definitely made it a good experience for people who were in Canada to not feel like everything was geared towards like the American culture and how to purchase there and how should you use business there. They actually had people from Canada being able to talk upon that, which I thought was just really, really awesome. Marketing, increasing awareness and customer retention. The world of video is now, which was content creation focused primarily on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Just how can you use all the social media opportunities nowadays to really drive traffic back to your stores. We then went into self-care, mental health, and balancing it all, which I'm so thankful they actually created a workout. It was a workout for your mind. Breakout session. And then we had business expansion, streamlining and scaling operations, demo of the new feature, demo 2 of photography and listing, and then a demo 3 of how people actually manage their inventory. So if you're not getting the idea at this point, basically what I could say about Poshfest is they do their best for someone who's just interested in their app to have a place for them. Someone who's kind of ready to maybe turn the side hustle into something a little more intentional. They've got you. Maybe even someone that wants to maintain a side hustle, but they need to figure out how to manage their inventory. They've got you. What is the market doing as far as reselling goes? What is the way that Google really wants us to create our listings to be more far-reaching so that way we can have more of our items selling? There's just such an array of opportunity and knowledge that gets passed through the Poshfest that for me personally, it's definitely worth doing whether you're going in real life or you are doing it virtually. So the platform they actually did the virtual conference on this year was called hopin.com. And to be honest, when I got the email saying that they were going to be using that site, I was a little perplexed. I was like, why in the world are you giving me this but like 24 hours before this event is going to start? But then I began to realize I didn't get registered until pretty close to the actual date itself because I was initially going to the in real life version and then ended up having to change to the virtual. So maybe people got more of a heads up when I was actually looking at the Q&As a little earlier. I realized they did actually state it there, but due to the current climate, wanting to make sure that we are social distancing and doing our due diligence to make sure everyone stays safe and healthy, I totally understand how there's this huge outbreak of a new developing program of people trying to figure out how can we maintain doing our conferences on an annual basis without needing us to be in all one area. And that's basically what hopin.com was. It kind of actually looked like a roadmap to how it would look in the hotel. You have off to the sidebar your sessions, your main stage. You even had vendors, booths, and I was like, what in the world? And there was even a section for networking. And what was great about the networking session is comparatively to if you went to a breakout session and you're listening to the panel talk to you, they can't see see you, they can't see your face. They can watch the chat and see you talking to them in that way, but they can't actually see your face. The networking tab had it to opportunity for you to actually join the group, and then it would turn on your camera, turn on your audio, and you'd be able to connect and talk with people. The thing that I really appreciated about that versus them trying to use a platform called like Zoom or something like that is I felt like you still got the touch of what it would be like if you were in the stage room and you were listening to the conversations versus like actually in the hallways, seeing someone that you see on either Instagram or YouTube, getting to see them and getting to talk with them. Because I have to say, when it comes to these conferences, the value that the companies put into the conferences is definitely there, but the best things about these conferences is the hallway conversation. I felt like you actually obtained that in the networking session. So if you didn't get to see the networking sessions, or maybe you were even just deciding not to do Poshfest this year because you felt like that was lacking, I'm here to say, due to COVID, there's actually developers that have created sites like hoppin.com to allow us to still get the connections that we so desire and still be able to have the conference experience. So let's go into the new features. So I actually wrote them down so that way I would not forget. So first and foremost, we have a golden badge, which is kind of funny to say, but basically if you are a Posh ambassador, they're now gonna have like a second tier in their statistics. Kind of similar if you're looking at eBay, how they have eBay sellers and they have eBay top rated sellers. They are clearly going to have to do some marketing around that so that the buyers understand the differences between the two. But from what I'm understanding, and they didn't give us a ton of criteria on how would you receive this golden badge, but when someone sees your store, you are going to have a differentiation of, are you someone who's just selling on there? Have you reached Posh ambassadors status, or are you even a layer higher than that as this like golden badge or golden star? Next, we have the seller review. So they are going to start having it to where in your listings, at the bottom of your listing, it's going to say who you are, how many items you have sold on the platform, how many items you have active on the platform, which if you are someone who has purchased anything on Amazon, you know that seeing reviews by a listing could alter if you're willing to buy something. Or if you see that someone is a well-established, has like thousands or hundreds of different reviews, you know that they're not going to scam you. So I feel like that's what Poshmark is trying to do in this regard, is start to give the buyer more confidence in who it is that they're purchasing from. I do also think that will give a little bit more protection, or at least feeling of protection, to the buyer. You then have the My Shopper feature, which I did end up going to one of the new featured demos, and they showed how is this going to be put into play. Basically what My Shopper is, when Manish first announced it, I was like, I'm already doing this. Like, why are you giving this to me as a feature? But I realized I'm doing it the hard way. So I will, on a weekly basis or periodically, like every other day, I'll go into my notifications. I will change the tab to likes, and I'll go through my likes and see what items have people liked. And generally, if someone has been on my store for a minute, I'm going to see their picture pop up like consecutively and see that they've liked multiple things at once. From that point, I click on that person, switch it to seller view. I will then add all of their likes into their bundle, and then I will proceed with a comment that says, thank you so much for taking a look at my store. I saw that you liked all of these items, or I saw that you loved all these items, so I wanted to add them into this bundle here so that way I could give you a bundle discount. Let me know if you want to add any more items into this bundle. Are you still interested? I try to leave it with a question at the end, because then that puts it back in their court to respond to me. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but I don't want to be like, I hope you enjoyed looking at my store. Like, it doesn't create a conversation at all. I definitely try my best to do some form of like a question at the end of it. And then I give them a discount. But the My Shopper feature is going to give you all of that data in one shot. So you basically can create a report and it'll say, this person liked this many items. Here's past buyers who might still have items they're liking. At least I think that was a part of the feature. And so it will filter and allow you to still do the same outcome where you're adding all of their items into a bundle, you're giving them a comment, you're giving them a discount. But now it's just going to be more streamlined to how to find that information, which will definitely save us time. The next thing they talked about was analytics, and I am so excited about this portion. I love that it's going to be in real time. It's going to be telling you what your sales are at from day to day. It's going to tell you what days the sales tend to dip and what days they tend to really go up. I kind of have an idea of what those would be, but I just love to be able to get that real time. It then also shows you, one of the things that I'm really excited about is what is in your inventory right now. So you can see all day long, you're selling a ton of like coats right now, but to have the information on the inventory scale. So let's take, for example, hey, Ashley's store is selling a lot of Columbia jackets, but let's take a look at the inventory. Kind of looks like we're actually getting really low on Columbia jackets. So the next time I'm going to go to the thrift store or have any opportunities that I'm looking for online, I'm going to be looking for Columbia jackets because maybe it's our #1 seller at this point. So having that sort of data is going to help you be better effective in the stores. And this is why I constantly tell you guys when I'm doing my haul videos, like, hey, I'm not someone who likes to sell this brand, but do not take my word for it. Go into your thrift stores, try this out, see if this brand is going to be a good seller for you. Or like Eileen Fisher for me. Love selling that brand. It's a great seller for me. But I've had people come back to me and tell me that Eileen Fisher is not a good seller for them. So being able to have that analytics for your store, the more you have an established store, the more that you're going to be able to go to your data and go, this is what works for me. And also be able to look at location wise. This is where I am locally. This is what comes to me on a regular basis. This is what readily is accessible to me. Maybe the only thing that's accessible to you is what you can get online. But being able to play around, take risks, then have the data Poshmark now can provide us with, and then being able to go into the stores to purchase, it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. All I continue to hear when I was seeing these new features is saving time. I'm gonna be saving time, which time is money and very important. Next, we have bulk listing. And bulk listing, surprisingly enough, is only going to be available to people who are Posh ambassadors. I just had about a week and a half ago someone message me on Instagram and say, hey, I'm really close to this Posh ambassador feature, but is there really a benefit for me to be a Posh ambassador? And there's been things over the years that Poshmark has done to really acknowledge that. But I think now they're starting to get into why would it be important for you to be a Posh ambassador? And this is one of those. You will not get this bulk listing feature unless you are a Posh ambassador. I had a conversation on Monday on my friend's YouTube channel, Sarah Styles. I will put her link down below and the link for that video if you guys want to check it out. And we were talking about how the original vision of Poshmark was for people to be able to clean out their closets and sell things online. I also kind of feel like that's ThreadUp's MO as well. And we really saw at the beginning of this year how ThreadUp really wanted to separate themselves from not being a reselling platform, but just being primarily for the people who are cleaning out their closet and is wanting to get rid of stuff. Whereas Poshmark, I feel like after they went public, they started to talk about how they wanted to be there for more of the full-time reseller, but there was a lot of work involved for them to be able to get to that place. I knew that when they said it, but I just had hope and belief that they're actually going to do things that this year as well as moving forward to really help us see if they're being true to their word on that. When we were doing the Posh State of the Union, Manish does say that in the State of the Union. He's like, we want Poshmark to be your #1 platform. And to be frank, when he said that in the Posh State of the Union, the beginning of this conference, I kind of chuckled. I was actually on the phone with my husband when he said that, and I was like, he's gonna need to do a lot to make that happen. But then he went into talking about the features, and for once, I actually had hope. For me at this point, in order for me to be full-time, I need to be on a secondary platform. Having both eBay and Poshmark, when one gets high, the other one kind of dips, and then they go back and forth like this. But I've really wanted to see more money come through on Poshmark. Seeing some of these features coming in excited me because I feel like I'm going to start to see my Poshmark sales increasing because they're doing things on their end to make it a little more easier, more streamlined, more automated for those people who are trying to use their platform for a full-time income. Okay, so let's go a little more detailed into some of the breakouts. The one that I was super excited about was, well, there was a couple. First and foremost, I got to speak this year. I was so excited to be able to talk with you guys and be able to talk about marketing. How have I branded my store over the years? How was I able to use social media to help assisting with driving traffic to my store? And it was a lot of fun. So one of the rooms that I was obsessed over, I actually had to go back on the replay because I missed it when it was happening and the agenda, was the Uncovering Discovery with Google. And I'll give you a little like blurb of what it was about. Increasing not exposure. Increasing exposure to your closet means more eyes on your listings, which can lead to more potential customers, and who doesn't want that? In this special session, Poshmark's growth marketing team is teaming up with Google to give you easy tips, tricks, and tools to incorporate into your business that will drive closet growth, boost listings, discoverability, and help you think like a buyer. And that was 100% what that entailed. I'm going to put up some pictures right here that shows some of the public tools that they talked about. The first one was Google Trends, and the second one was retail something. I cannot remember. One of the things that I really enjoyed, and this person actually says it in the session, is gone are the days where you have to be up to date on all of the different high fashion magazines, focus on Fashion Week, pay attention to what is trending on a seasonal basis. You can now go to these public forums or tools that Google has for you and see what are people actually searching. And it's pretty common to like YouTube. If you go into YouTube and you're starting to search for something, it's gonna have a search engine that drops down and it's gonna be like, are you about to finish the sentence with this? Are you about to finish the sentence with this? Okay, now here are all the videos that will help with the question that you are asking or the information that you are trying to look for. So I really liked that because we have ability being on Poshmark to show up in the listings part of Google's website. So if you look up like Madewell jeans, there's this bar right at the top that shows different pictures, and it's kind of like their shop section that you can click on, and it immediately drives you to, is that coming from Nordstrom's website? Is that coming from Poshmark's website? Is that coming from eBay? So on and so forth. So they were teaching us in this session, how do you get up on that search? How do you figure out what are the right terms to be using? What's the best way to describe certain items? What are the top trends right now? Knowing some of that information is going to really help you in how are you using your styles in the little bar that Poshmark now has on their listings, or how are you describing an item? How are you adding it to the titles, which now we have 80 characters when we're creating a title for Poshmark, which I think they hands down are doing that because of Google. Like the more you can describe something, the more capabilities you have to be in the search of Google. So I really enjoyed the session for that reason. I felt like it's going to help me boost how I'm listing my items a little more. I do still have virtual assistants that draft my items, but I do go through and see, could we have used maybe a different term here? Oh my gosh, so the next session that we talked about on Monday as well, but the one that I was really obsessed with, which was the TikTok one. So they had Victoria Paris. I'm gonna put her name right here. She started on TikTok 9 months ago. It took her 1 month to get to 100,000 followers, and it took her 6 months to get to over 1 million. Let's just pause and think about that for a moment. I have had my Instagram account for 3 years, and I'm at 15.5 thousand followers on there. Well, I was at that amount, but then I decided to take my own advice and I went up 3,000 new followers. The amount of viral capabilities on TikTok right now is just absurd in such a fun way. I nerd out on this kinds of stuff, you guys, so please forgive me, but I was formerly in marketing and I just love these analytics. And so hearing about this, first and foremost, the person who was also speaking with this girl who was on TikTok, she had mentioned how TikTok doesn't see themselves as like a search engine or even a social media. They see themselves as a content and entertainment platform. And I don't know about you, but I see Instagram as a business, YouTube as a business when it comes to my social medias, but I use TikTok as a way to like decompress. And I'm learning far too many things that I have not understood in my life. Like home ec, step aside, like let's just watch TikTok for a few hours and you're gonna be good to go. One of the things that I really enjoyed when they were talking on this TikTok workshop was they were talking about how no niche is too niche. No passion is too niche. You can absolutely go on there and talk about being a dentist. You can absolutely go on there and talk about your favorite books. Like there's so many different people who are on TikTok right now, and it is truly celebrated. But one of the things I do want to point out, if TikTok is something that is interesting to you, that you would like to go into, is kind of know the end in the beginning. And this is something that I tend to do when I go on any social medias, if I'm going to be honest. I began to look at what could potentially happen if I do go viral. What could potentially happen if this channel explodes? What are maybe some of the negative things that I might have to face? You may need to kind of consider those things and see if it's something that you feel like your mental health can actually handle. Because on TikTok, one of the things that I've noticed is people don't really understand reselling, which I appreciate because it creates an awareness of why we are here, why we like to sell things. But people still have this attitude that we're stealing from the poor, that only impoverished people are in thrift stores and we're taking from them. We're the reason for inflation. And then there's just people that are being mean to being mean. TikTok is such a platform that you can just explode on, that you need to be aware that that stuff can and will come. I would ask yourself, are you prepared to take on those questions? Are you prepared to see those comments? If you're not, if you don't feel like your mental health could handle that, I recommend you not going onto TikTok. I recommend like spending some time getting yourself to a place mentally that would feel safe for you then to jump onto TikTok. Food for thought. So now that I've said all of that about social media, I want to talk about one of the first sessions that I watched, which was the Scaling Your Sourcing, Liquidation Pallets, and Retail Arbitrage. The reason that this session stands out to me is, I mean, first and foremost, they did a really great job. Ashley is one of my amazing friends by Everyday Style, and she is actually working with Flip now, and she was talking about really the benefits of being able to be a consignor on Flip. But then they also had this other gal on there by the name Rachel Goodlad. And if I'm watching a session and someone who's talking that I haven't seen before is interesting to me, I will jump onto like Instagram or YouTube and be like, where are they? Who, you know, what kind of value have they already been giving into the community for free? And I could not find this girl. It was like, she's not on Instagram. She's not on YouTube. I was like, oh my gosh, where is she? And so finally I put it in the comments. I'm like, can anyone tell me how you would get in touch with Rachel? Because she was talking about some of the like truckloads that she gets on a regular basis and how she's been able to scale her business. She has a brick and mortar business. She also has an app. And I'm like, who are you? Like, I've never heard of you before. And she's on Facebook. And of course she has like a Facebook group. And personally to me, it kind of shows that she started this at a generation when Facebook was definitely the like top social media platform to be on. But the point I want to make here is you don't need to be on Instagram and you don't need to be on YouTube to drive traffic to your stores. Yes, she is finding the way to be in the internet world to be able to market what she has. But if you don't feel confident to do that, you don't need to do that. There's so many people who are making 6 and 7 figures on Amazon, on, you know, their own boutique stores with their own apps. There's so many ways that you can do it that doesn't require you having to spend so much attention on places like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, so on and so forth. So I finally did find her. I haven't reached out to her fully yet, but I did jump into her group on Facebook, which I am not a Facebook person, let me just say, please. I was definitely encouraged to hear that someone has been able to scale their business and they're not even on any of these platforms. So if that is something that you need to hear, take a deep breath in, breathe out. It is okay. You can have a successful business on Poshmark if you choose not to have a social media account. It's totally fine. Honestly, guys, if I sat here all day, I probably still wouldn't be able to give you all of the information and the tidbits that I got from the breakout sessions and just the conference as a whole. I will say, as an over feeling of Poshfest this year, how do I feel about it? I have great confidence in where Poshmark is going. This was what I was hoping for when they went public. I really wanted them to support the full-time reseller. I kept hearing them say that, and I wanted them to be good on their word. Overall, though, still feel like Poshmark is in the positive trajectory. You can have confidence in this platform. I still feel like it's the best platform to get started on if you are a beginner or new to reselling, because they do keep it as simple as they possibly can. We, as the full-time resellers, and maybe those who are on different platforms, kind of are pushing Poshmark a little more to go in different directions that feel a little more complex. But furthermore, they are doing their best to try to keep it simple for someone who is just getting started on their platform, which is why I will continue to recommend this as the platform to get started on before you jump into other ones. So again, you guys, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. Let me know down below if this type of video is valuable to you. I would love to be able to give you tips and tricks or even new features that are coming out both on Poshmark and on eBay. So let me know in the comments below if you do enjoy this. But other than that, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.